Hello, I'm Jodie, your guide for today's class for Yoga for Everybody. And today, we're so lucky we're going to experience a restorative yoga class. A lot of times we think about restorative yoga class when we're feeling very fatigued, maybe we're recovering from an accident, or maybe we're ill. But honestly, it's just such a nice class because you feel this luxury of relaxation. So take a moment to install yourself very comfortably on the ground. Grab a few pillows and props if you have them, and then lie down comfortably on your back. So make sure that you feel supported and that your low back is very comfortable. Turn your palms up towards the sky if your hands are down on the floor. Feel free also to place your hands on your belly if that feels better for you. Take a moment to check in with your alignment to make sure that your head is centered with your hips. And as you feel nice and comfortable, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and exhale with a sigh. Again, inhale. Exhale with a sigh. And a third time, take a deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh. So we're going to be starting with a nice little study of our own body. So start paying attention to how you feel around your head, and notice everything that's happening. And little by little, start traveling down through your body to take in like a body scan. Try not to put any positive or negative annotations on what you discover. It's just data, so that you know how to heal your own body. So notice, for example, what feels open and free, and where you feel tensions. Just to know what's happening. Keep working slowly down through your body, noticing what's happening through your shoulders, your torso, your legs, and your feet. And once you notice how you're feeling in your physical body, take a moment to check in with your emotions. And notice what is the truth for you in this very moment. Not placing any negative or positive attachment to those feelings. Very good. At the same time, notice what you're thinking about. It's very normal if you're thinking about millions of things. Sometimes we're thinking about the past. Sometimes we're dreaming about what's going to happen in the future. And for now, we're going to come back into the present moment. So give yourself permission to completely let go. And focus in on your own health and well-being right now. Sometimes I find it helps so much if we repeat to ourselves, I'm choosing this very moment. So right now, this is the perfect moment for you to choose to practice yoga. So we know that it's normal that thoughts do pass up. We take this as the human condition. And as soon as we notice that those thoughts pop up, just accept it as normal and come back and focus in on the breath. Just keep returning to that thought. The present moment is perfect. Excellent. Now make sure you're breathing at your maximum. If, for example, your hands are on your stomach, you'll notice as when you inhale, your stomach will reach up towards the sky. And when you exhale, the belly button is going to sink down towards the spine. So you might notice that your breath has already become very fluid and smooth and very slow. And if you find that it's not, just improve the quality of your breath by paying attention. Great. Now we'll include the Ujjayi breath as well. So we do this by contracting the larynx a little bit. And you'll notice that when your throat contracts, your breath turns into sound, kind of like the ocean waves. If you find it strange to breathe this way, remind yourself logically how this helps change your hormones in your body. So once your brain starts registering this type of breath, we're no longer able to produce stress hormones, and we actually start producing hormones that help us heal. For me, this is a type of magic breath, because even without doing any type of physical asanas, this type of breathing and doing just simple the breath can help us feel better. This is why in yoga, the breath is always the most important. So keep listening in to the sound of the waves. At the same time, take a moment to think about that energetic side of breathing. So as you inhale, imagine bringing in all the positive energy that surrounds you. All that beautiful energy from the earth, the sky, the abundance that we live in. And as we exhale, we're going to think about letting go of all those negative things that we hold on to. Just let it go. And after a moment, you'll notice that things start feeling much easier. Very good. So hold on to that beautiful breath, and we're going to begin with our first posture. So if you have a wall close to your practice, that's fantastic. And if you don't, grab a chair, and you can either put your feet up on the top or let your feet rest on the wall. Or if you prefer, come back a little bit from the wall or the chair, and you can bend your knees at 90 degrees and let your feet rest on either the chair seat or on the wall. It's totally up to you to choose what is the most comfortable posture that will help you relax to your maximum. Excellent. So take time to make sure you're comfortable to the point that you'd almost fall asleep. So if you need, place something under your head. Feel free to support yourself with pillows or anything. And then make sure that your head, especially the crown of the head, is aligned with the tailbone. Feel free to adjust your hips if you need to. And then close your eyes. So we're just going to keep breathing in this posture. That's all you need to do. So we keep the breath very fluid, slow, and deep. And keep using the Ujjayi breath by contracting the throat. I'd also like to explain to you a little bit about the philosophy of yoga. And a lot of it is letting go of our ego. And a lot of times when we're sick or not feeling very well, we've been hurt, sometimes our ego stops us from doing this type of posture because we think it's small. I'd like you to change this mentality a little bit and just start focusing in on where you are at this very moment and allow your body to heal through these gentle postures. In my experience, I've had some very major accidents and illnesses. And I know for me, I had a very nice, what I considered a very nice level of yoga. And I actually had to return to practice in a class for people that were over 65, and I was very young. And I felt very, almost humiliated to practice with people who were in such a different life experience than I was. But in the end, that's what helped me heal. So, change that mindset that things that are gentle don't help. This is exactly what you need to be doing in this very moment for yourself. Whether it's just a mental, emotional, or physical healing, let this relaxation fill every one of your cells. Let the tension melt away. Nothing needs to be forced here. The idea of doing things bigger and faster don't apply. Sometimes letting the luxury of relaxation is exactly what you need to do to heal and recover. Allow it to happen naturally. So take a moment to check in, to notice how your feet, your ankles, your calves, your thighs, and your hips feel. Notice what's happening with the circulation through your feet and legs right now. And notice that feeling of letting go with each cycle of breath. And notice all that healing that's helping your mind and body to go back to themselves. You're perfect right now in this very moment. You do not need to be doing anything else except breathing. Excellent. So slowly start bringing your feet down from the wall or take them off the chair and put your chairs to the side. We're going to be starting with another posture now, when we really want to let go with the practice. So we're going into a very gentle child's posture. So if you're feeling comfortable, lean forward with your knees wide open and just let your forehead rest on the mat. Now, there are some times in our life where we need more support. So just notice what it feels like if you start supporting yourself with pillows, and how many that you need to feel very supported. So feel free to turn your head side to side. Just make sure that you do turn it and it does not stay in one position for too long. So if you like, get comfortable in child's pose and close your eyes. Take time to breathe deeply and that you're so comfortable. And now, I'd love you to imagine that you're on a canoe in a river, taking a little trip down the stream. Imagine that beautiful sun that starts warming up your shoulders. Imagine that beautiful scenario of just tiny little waves in the river, and you start to row. And notice how difficult it is if you try to row upstream. It might even seem impossible. And now, imagine just allowing yourself to allow the canoe just to go with the current. And notice how easy it is to relax and let go and allow destiny to take over. You might notice how we often create battles with what's natural instead of just letting go with what's really going on in our lives. Just a little reminder to turn your head to the opposite direction if you haven't already. And remember, you can keep your forehead on the mat or the cushion if that's comfortable too. Keep checking in to how you're feeling now. Do you feel your back releasing? What's happening through your hips and your legs? And keep reminding yourself that through our yoga practice, we are always discovering our true nature, our true self. Allow that healing to come through. And remember, sometimes it's as easy as just listening into our inner wisdom. Our body and mind really wants to be healthy. It wants to provide a lovely environment for us. Sometimes we just have to listen in so that we know what to do and guide it in the right direction. Perfect. Take a moment to roll up one vertebrae at a time to a seated position. Great. Our next posture will be a supported bridge. And I'll show you a couple of options how we can do a supported bridge. Make sure that you have your block and your cushions close by. Lie down on your back and bend your knees with your feet under your feet, about hip distance apart. And then place your block under your hips. If you're feeling lots of tension in your low back, slide it closer towards your tailbone. If you prefer, use a pillow, because our goal here is to be the most comfortable as possible. Support yourself in any way you feel necessary. Notice if this is the best way for your legs. Try to keep your knees bent, but feel what happens if you put the knees together and open the feet a little bit more. Or the opposite, keep the knees open and widen the feet. Choose whichever way is best for you. And then close your eyes and reconnect to your breath, reminding yourself that's how we heal. So inhale and exhale to your maximum. Concentrate for a moment on those places where you do feel tension in your body. And tell your brain to relax the muscles and all of the tissues around those zones. Let yourself relax as much as possible. And imagine the healing process that's taking place right now in your body. So focus into an area where you are feeling tension. And you can imagine that the circulation and the cells aren't vibrating as normal, that they're slow. You can even imagine that those are more like a brown color. And as you inhale, you can imagine sending space into that area. And imagine the vibration of the breath illuminating and making these cells come alive, vibrating a little bit faster. And you can imagine that the color brown is slowly starting getting brighter. So it goes from dark brown to a light brown, beige, and then it starts transforming into pink. And as you allow the tensions to melt out, imagine that area that used to carry the tension becomes healthy and a vibrant red and vibrates at a healthy speed. And remind yourself you can control so much of that tension by releasing it. Excellent. Again, take a moment to focus in on that area that we're really working with, around the low back and the hips. And again, just take notes about how you're feeling and what this posture gives you. Good. Now press your feet slowly into the ground, lifting your hips up, and remove the block. And then let the hips slowly come back down to the ground. Perfect. So we're going to practice another restorative posture for our hips. So we're going to go into the frog posture. So you're going to go onto your belly and spread your left knee to the side. Again, we're going to feel free to place as much support under our body to support ourselves, to feel comfortable so our body can release tension. So notice what it feels like to have a pillow under the knee. And remind yourself that you should be comfortable enough to sleep in this position if you'd like to. And you're going to find when we do these type of postures that there might be one side that's more tense than the other. And don't feel obliged to have the same angle or the same support on both sides. They're eventually going to release until we can do the same thing. But for the moment, we're going to work with how we're feeling and support ourselves as needed until the tension releases. Also, when you're checking in with your body and mind and soul, if you ever feel that a posture is really not for you in the very moment, you do have the right to skip that posture or do another one that you feel is better for yourself at the moment. In yoga, we learn to be very honest with our present moment because we realize there's usually no point in forcing. We want to stay in that luxury of relaxation. And I know if you're like me, it's very easy to get caught up doing way too much and thinking way too much. And we have to remind ourselves to relax. And we also have to remind ourselves that it's not normal to live like that, and that we should be living in a more natural pace that is healthy for ourselves. How will you be happy and healthy? I know how tempting it is to fall asleep in these postures. And really, you do have that right to fall asleep if that's what your body really needs. Although I have to say, it's very interesting to tune in and discover all those intricate, delicate parts of how your mind and body work together. Keep breathing to your maximum. Sometimes we get almost too relaxed and we forget how important it is to do the deep breathing through the postures. So check in to hear that beautiful Ujjayi breath as well. And notice how your body responds to your exhalation. A lot of times we'll even feel our body release as the gravity pulls us down towards the ground. Perfect. Stretch that leg down on their mat. And then we're going to bend the other knee to the side. And remind yourself again, work with the feeling of the angle. It does not have to be the same angle as the opposite side. Feel free to use your cushions and your pillows, your bolsters. Remind yourself today's class is about your ultimate comfort. All you need to do is to put 100% of your effort into your breathing. So again, take a little interior trip, and you can imagine traveling around through your hip. And remind yourself how much work that hip really does for you. Think about all that walking, sitting, childbirth, sports, everything you do with your hip. And as we work with the hip, we also think about our second chakra in yoga, which is an energetic zone for our creative center and our sexual center. So sometimes the hip becomes contracted because emotional pain as well. And take a moment to ask your hip if that is emotional tension, what you need to do to release the physical and emotional pain. Excellent. Gently bring that leg down to your mat. For our next asana, we're going to take our bolster. If you don't have a bolster, sometimes it's easy to take a yoga mat or some towels and roll it together to find a nice height for you. Take a couple of pillows and place them behind, because we want to be as comfortable as possible, and bring some pillows down where your legs will be as well to support your knees. So I'm going to place the bolster just under the shoulder blades and put as many cushions behind your head so it's comfortable. And notice how far back you want your head to sink. Remind yourself you're going to be here for a couple of moments. So don't go back so far that it will cause you any type of discomfort. So again, just put the angles of your head and your knees to whatever angle feels good for you. And then close your eyes and reconnect to your breath. Good. Allow yourself to fully relax. Release your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your arms, your shoulders, your neck, and your head. You don't have to use any type of muscular effort right now. So if you do feel a place of your body that feels strained, notice how you can move it or support it so it can release. And again, the only thing you have to do right now is to inhale and exhale to your maximum. And right now, we want to focus on releasing the area around the heart, the chest, your shoulders, and your upper back. And notice if you're feeling any tensions in that area. And ask yourself why you're having tension in those areas. Sometimes it's because we take too much on. We put too much weight on our shoulders. Although in yoga too, we talk about the emotional side. So this would be the fourth chakra, the chakra of the heart. And this especially deals with love and our deceptions and disappointments in love, and whether we've received unconditional love. And this doesn't necessarily have to be romantic love. It's also with friends and family, sometimes with work. And take a moment to think about any physical injury you've had to that area. And at the same time, think about maybe any emotional pain that have happened in your heart. And ask yourself if you really need to hold on to those tensions anymore. So in yoga, the lesson we learn through the fourth chakra is how we can give and also how we can receive love unconditionally. And I honestly don't think that anyone has been able to get through life without some type of love pain. And it's something that affects us very deeply. So what's so important is that we're able to release those tensions and pain so that we're able to be the best version of ourselves. Excellent. So you're going to gently come out of the posture by slowly turning towards your right side and place the cushions to the side. That's excellent. So we're going to come back and work with our hips again. So this time, we're going to do a supported pigeon pose. So place the cushions around your mat just to be prepared. So we're going to start by sliding the left knee forward and extending the right leg in the back, and support your hip with a block or a cushion so that all of the muscles are able to release. So come into position and notice what level your hip has to be with. It can honestly be down on the floor if you feel very comfortable on that side, or you can even put a couple of cushions to support yourself. Remember, what feels good in your body in this moment is what you're looking for. So again, we hold a lot of tension in the hips, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental. So it's so important to think about that level of comfort while we practice in restorative postures. The perfect angle is the one that's allowing you to let go right now. So, take a moment to imagine what's happening in our hip at the moment. And take a minute to speak with your subconscious, to tell yourself to release all of that muscular tension that holds the mental and emotional tensions. And let it go. And you'll find that when we have this type of thinking, that when the hip knows that it's totally supported and it's in a place to release, all of the connective tissues, the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments will start releasing and opening. And then that beauty of having the hip joint release is able to happen. And we can refine all of our flexibility. Very good. Feel all that comfort, all that support. I know you feel very comfortable right now, but we do have to go to the other side. So take a moment to put the cushions on the other side, bring that leg down, and bend the other leg into pigeon posture, and then support your hip. Remind yourself again that it's very normal if one hip has more tension than the other. So it does not matter if your hip has the same amount of cushions on one side or the other. It is your health and wellness that is the most important at the moment. You want to have that feeling of being supported incredibly and deeply, so that our body's wisdom is able to communicate with us on how to have an easier life and what we need to let go of. Focus in on that feeling of how the gravity starts helping your body come down towards the earth on every exhalation. Take a moment to ask yourself if this is only physical tension or if it's emotional tension again. And just think about how wonderful it is that our body is able to heal and recover from all of those accidents, injuries, and tensions. It's really a miracle that it can heal, and become fascinated with this process. That's very good. Great. So slowly start coming out of this posture, and we're going to come onto our backs. Great, so place cushions on both sides of your mat for a moment. And we're going to allow our knees to open to the sides and our feet to stay together. Notice if it feels comfortable if the knees are just open, or if you need 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 pillows. If one side needs more support than the other, that's perfectly fine too. Remind yourself, today's goal is to release and let go. It's not about angles and perfection. It's staying in the present moment. So notice too if you need to support your head so you can let your shoulders release. Place your hands on your low belly and just concentrate in on that area around the pelvis, the inner thigh, the hips, and notice what sensations you're feeling in that area. Think about your flexibility and allow the hips to totally let go. Allow your thighs to feel supported by the cushions. And all we need to do here is to work with our breath. So every time you inhale, feel your belly stretch up towards the sky. And notice how just with the power of your breath, that all the tendons, ligaments, organs start releasing and stretching. And imagine that with each inhalation, the hips are able to open just through that breath work. we're going to allow the breath to do all of the work for us. So if we happen to be feeling a lot of tension and pain in our hip area, our brain tries to protect us by contracting that area of the inner thigh and the hips. So remind your brain that right now you are totally and completely supported and safe. And remind your brain to relax your muscles. Sometimes we contract them subconsciously. Feel everything that's supporting your body right now. Everything from the cushions to the block, to the mat, your bed, the floor, your earth, all of the energy that's really supporting you. And maybe you've even been holding on to stress for many years, and let that just melt out in the air around you. And think about all of the changes that are taking place right now. And start thinking about all the changes that are happening right now. Because if we've been having pain and tension for years, we have to actually create another type of thinking, more different types of neural pathways, so that the brain starts trusting the new patterns we're instilling in the body. So this is the neuroplasticity of the brain. So really, be very logical and remind yourself you have to teach your brain sometimes new ways how to move without pain. So the brain can release that feeling of protection by contracting all the muscles to help you. But now it's the time to recover. So we have to really change the way of thinking that the brain has developed to protect us. So we find those ways to move without pain. So the brain knows how to act and change. Great. Now let your legs stretch out on your bed or your mat, wherever you are. Great. So now we're going to go into a twist. Make sure that you have the cushions on the side again, close enough so that you can hold them. Stretch your arms out into a T posture. Bend your knees and let the knees come to the side, whatever angle that they're comfortable at. So for example, if your knees don't touch the ground, put the cushion under your knees and feel free to slide the knees up and down to find a good angle. Also, you can take a cushion and put it between the knees if that's more comfortable. Some people might feel better if the cushion's between the knees and there's none under. And feel free if you feel comfortable without a cushion as well. Whatever feels good in your body is exactly what should be going on right now. If ever your arm is not comfortable, you can also support that with a cushion. Again, the angle is not important. What is important right now is that you can be 100% comfortable and breathe at 100%. So let their body melt down towards the floor. And just think about the area around your diaphragm. And you'll notice that when we start doing deep breathing in the twist, we'll find this beautiful stretch through the rib cage and this all the way from the shoulder down to the hip. And each time you inhale, notice that feeling when the rib cage starts to open. Notice that feeling of peace we have as we exhale. Try to breathe in even more deeply. And feel the healing that happens through the breath. Right now, we are in the best place in the entire world. And you and I have chosen this very time and space to heal our bodies and minds. Remember, yoga is a practice. It feels beautiful when you put it in your body one time. And I remind you again, yoga is a practice. And if you want to have a very happy and healthy life, a very easy way to do that is to have a yoga practice that repeats. And you'll start noticing how amazing it is that your body and your mind and your soul can start adapting and changing with these postures. Great. Inhale, bring your knees to the center. Exhale, let them come down to the opposite side. And then support yourself in whatever way feels good. And it does not have to be with the same exact angle as the other side. Turn your head gently to the opposite direction of the knees. Very good. And again, come back to your breath. Make sure it's very deep, fluid, and slow. And we keep the throat contracted a tiny bit. And notice how great the breath feels right now. Be conscious of how you're programming your mind. Good. If you can, let the shoulders and the hips relax even further more down towards the earth. Notice how lucky we are to have this moment, to be together, to practice together, to take care of ourselves in such a beautiful and natural way. Remind yourself that your mind, body, and soul always wants to go back to health. And start tuning in to your inner wisdom. Very good. notice all the differences you feel from one side to the other. And slowly let your legs come down to the mat. And we're going to prepare for Savasana. So feel free to support your body with cushions. Feel free to place a blanket over your body if you're feeling a little bit cool. And just remind yourself, our goal is to be comfortable. Take a moment to create space between your ears and your shoulders, that your head is centered with your body. Adjust the hips if you need. And place your legs however you wish to make sure you're comfortable. Now, I'd love it if you would remind yourself and remember what was the best bed you ever slept in. And take a moment to remember what it felt like to slide into the bed. The sensation, the feeling of the blankets and the sheets, the support of the mattress, or maybe it was a hammock. And remind yourself what it felt like to sink down into that bed. And allow that muscular memory to come back into the body so that every muscle can melt. Now take a moment to scan through your body, starting with the head and coming slowly down to notice what's happening in every part of our body. Keep moving through the shoulders, the back, the hips, the legs, even your feet and your toes. And that way, you can compare how you felt right now to how you felt in the beginning of the class. And this is always extremely important to notice all of those changes that are taking place so that we start learning about our limits and how we can let go of pain. We're going to hold on to that beautiful relaxation. Turn onto your left side and turn onto your right side and place your left hand to the floor to help push you up to a seated position. Bring your hands to your heart in prayer and we'll chant Om to finish the class. So take a deep breath in. Thank you very much. Namaste.